car in autocross, just a quick preview of what I've been talking about. I don't think it wants to play, so. Alright, today I'll be talking about autocross. So, what is autocross? Autocross is a form of racing that requires precision, skill, and concentration, all while trying to drive as fast as you can. It is a solo event. You're going to be racing by yourself. You're not racing head-to-head. It's a short track. It will be clearly defined by traffic cones. Typical run is about a minute and a half. You'll find these set up at large parking lots or in airstrips that are abandoned. According to the Sports Car Club of America, about 100,000 people will participate here. A lot of people who participate use it to improve their driving skill in daily driving, but also as a stepping stone to get to competitive car-to-car head-to-head racing. So today I'd like to lead you through those proper steps to compete in an autocross event. I will be discussing the basics to being permitted to compete, how to prepare your car for the track, how to classify your car before you start, and finally understanding the course which you'll be driving on that day. The basics. You must have an SCCA membership, either full or weekend, that you can buy the day of your racing. You have to have a valid driver's license, and a helmet, either open or a closed lens. So, going from that, you have to prepare the car for a safety inspection. The inspector will come by your car the day of before you're racing and ensure that all these items inside or outside the car will be removed. This can be anything from coins, papers, cameras, anything like that. All seats have to be properly secured. They're going to check for the bolts, make sure they're tight. Wheel legs have to be properly tight and secure also. Tires have to be in good condition. There cannot be any cracks in the sidewall. Tires have to be inflated, and there has to be visible tread on the tires. Seat belts have to be in good condition. They're going to check that they're tight and secure also. No excess leaks. They're going to check for oil, fuel, water, brake fluid, things like that. Suspension and steering all has to be in really good working condition. They're going to check. They're also going to check your helmet, make sure there's no cracks, and also that it fits properly. Next, you're going to want to classify your car. Now, in order to do this, you're going to have to have an individual car number and also your class lettering here. So this would be Street Touring Ultra. There's three major categories that you'll find. It'll be stock, street touring, and street prepared. Stock is just as it sounds. You're basically taking the car from the showroom straight to the track. Very little modification can be done. Maybe a better tires, but if they're too grippy, then that might bump you out of that category. Next, you're going to have the street touring. This allows for a bit more modification. Anything from aftermarket seats, steering wheels, grippier tires, maybe some wider wheels, upgraded intake, exhaust, and 2 The third class that you might find yourself in when you're first starting is the street prepared class. Still has to be a production vehicle, has to be road legal, but allows for some more serious modifications. This can be anything from an alternate computer controlling the engine, removal of some weight like the air conditioning, the radio. You can have any steering wheel. As the previous class had to have an airbag. Now you can disable the airbags if you want. Any tires, any rated tires, so they can be really grippy, and any wheel of any diameter or size. So once you have the car done, it's been inspected for safety. You've had the class lettering, the number. The car's ready to go on the track, but you don't want to just attack it straight out without doing some steps. You're going to want to walk the course, plan out your drive, and understand the penalties. So your first step is probably going to be walking the course. This is just an example of how the course might be outlined. Green is where it starts. The car's going to drive through. The arrows indicate what side the car should be on the cones. There's a lot of hairpins. Slalom at the top. So it's courses are very difficult. When you walk the course, your goal is going to memorize the course. You're going to want to have a picture in your head where you're going to be driving the whole time. You want to remember each straight, slalom, and turn that you might encounter. You also want to get a gist of your pace, how fast you'll be accelerating, when you want to brake. According to Jim Howard, he's the supervisor, safety steward for Washington, D.C. region for the SCCA. He said that driving on a track like this is 90% driver skill. That means a slow car with a good driver can go faster than a bad driver in a fast car. So next, you're going to want to plan the drive. You might want to walk the course again, develop a line, which will take you the course the fastest, not necessarily the slowest, but will get you through the quickest. And this kind of means understanding the dynamics of your car, the handling characteristics of it. And then next, you're going to want to know the penalties, which involve the cones. In this graphic here, you can see any cone that is tipped over will be a penalty, and it's 2 seconds off. And any cone, whether it's standing or tipped over outside the box, will also be a penalty. So as long as they are standing, they can be inside the box, touching, or right on the corner, you won't be deducted. So with all that in mind, whether you drive a stock Ford Focus or a built-up Porsche 911 Turbo, Autocross is a great platform to really hone in on your driving skills. It's cheap, safe, adrenaline, experience allows basically anyone to enjoy Autocross.
So Drake, what did you think?
Well, I thought your intro was kind of shaky, but that was because video mechanics. You made a good recovery about it, but you weren't really clear on what autocross really was in the beginning. And we kind of got an idea after a few minutes. Your 3 mechanics were there, and it was a great breakdown of what it was. Your speed was kind of short, in my opinion, but it had detail. You had 50-50 eye contact, so it was pretty good. You weren't just staring at your card the whole time. And you weren't saying or and or kind of getting stuck at all. All in all, I think it was pretty good.
All right. Yeah, there was obviously an awkward moment there at the beginning because you wanted the video to be your attention device, and that's just one of those things that you have to plan, test out, see that everything works. You know, if we tried it again, I'm sure we could find a solution, but you didn't want to get held up during the speech, and I thought you did the right thing, which is just go ahead and keep going into the speech. So you get some credit on handling that. No? It's there, it's coming. I thought you had a very clear thesis statement and preview, a little bit of a justification. I think we could use a little bit more information about how many people participate in this activity, and I assume that there's some costs involved, and so some of that seems like it would be good background information. Like I said, I thought there was a very solid preview about what you were going to do. You had a good signpost on the first point when you got to it, and so that's clear. There were a couple of things that I think needed some additional detail. For instance, you mentioned the organization a couple of times. I don't remember if you gave us a definition, but it came up 2 or 3 more times and we got the acronym, so you might want to remind us maybe once or twice during the speech what the organization's called. The inspection process, I think you spent a lot of time on minutia things. I mean, if I was getting ready to do this, I'd want to know all those kinds of things. You need to condense that section because it just, and then they look at this, and then they look at this, and somebody's going to do this, and somebody's going to do, and I'm going, okay, I got the idea, you know. Since we're not going through that process, providing all of that, I think, is a little problematic. The thing that I thought was most interesting and probably could have been developed a little bit more was the whole thing about the different classifications that people drive in. That seems to me like a natural area where there's something where we could talk about, here's how anybody can do this, because you just drive your car in, the one that you're driving right now, I can get my flag out and go drive in, and that kind of thing, and, you know, and kind of relate it to the audience in that situation. And then the other two classifications, I think that you do give a good definition. To me, it seems like that would have been a natural place for a visual aid to identify the three different classifications. You know, here's what the first classification is, and street, right off of the lot, that kind of thing, and then listing some of the things that would put you in that second classification, and then the ultra classification with, the kinds of, that seems like it's a natural for a visualization, and it would explain that information. You had the explanation there, but all we got was the picture of the one car and no details about why it fit into that particular category. So I thought that was, you're missing a trick there. The visual, when you're talking about walking the course, you kind of explain what it is and what you're doing there. The visual to me was a little confusing because there's detail on it. There's a lot of information. I think that would have been one of those things where, let's walk the course. There you've got that picture up there. So right here is where you would be, you'd say, well, I need to break here because you're supposed to be on this side of the bones and that kind of thing, and maybe integrate it a little bit more. As it was, it just seemed like it was background information and not really integrated well into the speech. I thought you did a nice job talking to the audience. I was a little freaked out at the beginning. I was thinking, did he not hear what I just said to Brandy about talking in the dark? And just as I'm writing that, you walked over and turned on the lights. I said, okay, good. Apparently you did hear it. You're just slower to respond to it than I would have liked. Okay, thank you very much.